Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are all of you? It is Sunday. It is Sunday. Not typically when I am with you. Did post the group weekend reveal, pick a card reveal, and we're going to do a pick a card for this full moon. I know that I've kind of gotten off track in the past couple of months in doing the new moon, full moon pick a card live readings, even anything pre-recorded. What I can tell you is that I felt so called to do this reading because this is such a big shift. Like, these energies are a lot. Hey, Deb. Hey, Chrissy. So I'm actually going to be using the Mary Magdalene Oracle by Megan Watterson to do the pick a card. So you'll pick the card that I'm going to hold up here, and then we'll do mini readings for each of the cards. So if you've never done this with me before, hi, I am Melissa L. Watkins, evidential medium and master instructor with integrated energy therapy. Please like, subscribe, heart. I truly appreciate all the support. And what I do is I'm going to hold up the cards. You can pick the 1, 2, or 3. Again, let your heart lead the way. The one you hear the number in your head or you feel it. Yeah. Listen to all 3, take what resonates, however you want to do it. For those of you watching on the replay, thank you. So please feel free to drop your number in the comments, whether you're here live or you're watching on the replay. But I'm going to be using this Mary Magdalene deck because she came through in a reading I've done just this past week. Shoot, I can't remember which. I think it was Realizing the Divinity Within. If you've not seen that, it's a lengthier video. So it would be one of those good ones to listen to when you're by yourself in the car. Just kind of let me talk. You don't really need to see the cards. Or doing the dishes where you can prop your phone up and then you can watch and listen. But it's a lengthier video, but I think it's very valuable because it's a timeless video. It's not about this week. It's not about today. It's about your journey. So those of you who are really called to see that video, I feel like it's because you'll really resonate with something in there. Hey, Patty, welcome. But we are here to do this Capricorn full moon reading, big monumental shifts in your life. It really does feel like what we're going through right now is a rebirthing process. And I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like I was rebirthed the other day. Definitely feeling and stepping more into deservedness in a way that I don't think I've ever been able to step into deservedness. So I'm really encouraged for all of you that there are going to be some beautiful shifts coming in your experience that is going to allow you to step into your power, step into your path. So in this full moon reading, I'm going to ask Spirit to kind of guide us to what's going to be the most beneficial message for you, which I already did when I chose the first 3 cards. What is the most beneficial message that will help you as you shift in these energies? All right, so here we go. Let's get this party started. So these are the cards. These are the Mary Magdalene cards. Oh, I'm trying to, there we go. So it's going to be 1, 2, or 3. Thank you, Tracy. You also. 1, 2, 3. Feel into it. Let your heart lead the way. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. All right. So, all right. So we are going to be using, to dig into that, we're going to be using the Archangel Power Tarot cards by Radley Valentine. And then we're going to see who wants to come in or is with us. I'm actually going to be using my mega deck, which is the 22 Archangels by Radley Valentine, or I'm sorry, Kyle Gray, and then also Kyle Gray's The Divine Masters. So I combined his 2 decks to make a mega deck. So good morning, Cynthia. So that's what we're going to be doing, guys. So buckle in. There will be timestamps for those of you who are watching on the replay. But again, take the message that really resonates for you. before we get started with the individual messages, I was just being called to do a general message for all of us to start these readings, and then we'll get into the individual ones. Sorry, guys, that just came to me. Spirit was like, we got to do a message before the 3 messages. So, all right. So that's what we're going to do. Wow, I've not used this deck very much. This is the Golden Future by Diana Cooper. So that's the deck we're going to start for for the messages for all of us. All right. So, good morning, Christina. Good morning. So I'm going to shuffle this one up. Literally have not had it open. To be honest with you, I got it and then I looked at it. I pulled some cards for myself. I think I might have used it in one reading, but yeah, I guess this is why it's been sitting on my shelf waiting. We needed this shift in consciousness that we're all going through, this shift in the energy of the planet that is raising everyone's awareness, bringing us into this new energy in your life, whatever that looks for you. Some of you, this is going to be very personal. For some of you, this is going to be you stepping more into your purpose. So definitely take what resonates. Okay, that card. Music. Bring yourself into divine harmony. Yeah, as you go forward, the frequency that you're vibrating at is going to bring to you and match up to you the experiences and the people. And this is how you're going to start running your life. This is how your life is going to start running. I feel like on this new paradigm of frequency, right? So being very harmonious with your life going forward, where the obstacles and the challenges are not going to be so great. Things aren't going to be so high and then so low. It's going to be more fluid is what I'm hearing. So this is also a call for you to really recognize what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're letting into your ears and your eyes, which leads to your heart, right? Because when we're watching something scary, that ramps up our fear. When we're watching or listening to music that is not uplifting, right? It brings us down into depression or anxiety or hurt or trauma, whatever, right? So this is also a call I'm feeling like as you move forward after this full moon, what you're watching, the movies, the TV shows, what you're listening to on YouTube, what you're consuming in media, social media, music, I really feel like you're going to be finding yourself that the old just doesn't fit anymore. Like you're wanting things that make you feel better. You're wanting things that it's basically going to be a product of the shifting that you're going through. So don't be surprised when all of a sudden you don't want to watch that show anymore. You don't care that the next season's coming out. You don't want to listen to that artist anymore because they're just, their music is at a frequency you just don't vibe with anymore. Their lyrics just don't make you resonate with you the way that they resonated with you before. So this is really going to be a byproduct or a great equalizer is what I'm hearing. You're just coming into this great equalizing where you're resonating on that emotional scale, where your energy is shifting into the higher frequencies of love, compassion, gratitude, mercy, joy. That really lower frequency is not going to feel good anymore. It's not going to feel good anymore. So that's an interesting message. All right, so let's see what else is being brought in this Capricorn full moon energy, and just the energies in this 3-day period, right? 3-day period. So for some of you, you're really going through it right now because it's been a heck of a 3 days. It's been a heck of a full moon. I know there's some other things going on too. And again, I'm not an astrologer. Please find one. Find someone you can trust and resonate with. Spiritual technology, expand your imagination and share your visions. Yes, your spiritual technology is coming online. Your spiritual technology. That's your clairvoyance. That's your telepathic connection. Your spiritual technology, your pineal gland really opening up, your causal chakra coming back online. Whew. Yeah, that's why you're really tired right now. Where that headache, you've been having a headache, you couldn't explain because you don't necessarily get headaches anymore. They're not part of your thing. Your causal chakra is opening up. Your spiritual technology is coming back online. I can't say online. I can say back online. Like every single one of us that's seeing this video, whether you're watching live or on the replay, you've been in this place before where your spiritual technology was very, very high. Whether you were a Lemurian, whether you were a Pleiadian, whether you were Arcturian, whether you were Atlantean, whether it was this planet, other planet, whatever lifetime, like the spiritual technology, you're gonna be. It's coming back online. You're gonna remember. You're coming back into remembering who you were, who you are on a spiritual level. So the spiritual technology that you're coming into is going to feel big. So again, needing lots of rest, needing lots of water, needing to disconnect from, social media, technology, this technology, right? Human technology, because your spiritual technology is coming back online. And for some of you, you're being brought online in ways that, yeah, you do need to use your imagination because you're not believing what you're experiencing. Um, that telepathic communication where you're really feeling like you're hearing somebody else's thoughts, you are. That knowingness that you don't know how you just know, that situation's not gonna work out for you, that person's deceiving you to your face, whatever it is, right? That's your spiritual technology, and that's what's shifting. You're being reborn into who you used to be, who you came here to be, remembering who you were. This Capricorn full moon is really bringing you guys, all of us, food. Yeah. Choose locally organic produce. Yeah. Again, and that goes back to the music card. You've got to really clean up. You're being called to really clean up what you're putting in your physical space, your physical body. And that's why for some of you, you don't feel good. Your stomach's been off. Stuff's been going right through you. It's because your DNA has been shifting. Your cells are changing. They're upgrading. This Capricorn full moon, you literally are being reborn spiritually and physically. This is powerful, powerful energy. And your spiritual technology is coming online, back online. Every time I say online, they're like, no, back online. I knew I had to sit down and do this reading because I knew there was powerful energy that was coming through, that spirit had messages. They weren't going to let us not receive. I have one more card that really wanted to come out. The super love portal. Accept yourself as a cosmic being. Yeah, for some of you, you're struggling with your role. You're struggling with the changes that you're going through because you're not recognizing that you are going through the super love portal, that you are cosmic. You're not just human. You're not just spiritual. So for some of you, it might be a situation where now it's time to kind of look at, what the traits of an Arcturian are, or what the traits of a Pleiadian are, or what the traits of a Venusian are, or, all the other different cosmic planets, beings that we've kind of been brought to our experience. And for some of us, we know For some of us, we don't know, and by looking at the traits of them, you'll get that. Not super important, but it will give you some aha moments. It'll help you to understand why you've struggled with certain things in your life, certain things like anxiety, certain things like people pleasing, certain things like never feeling like you fit in, always feeling like you had to achieve, always feeling like, for some of you, you've always just wanted to love. And you've gotten hurt over and over and over again because you just keep putting your heart out there. You just keep accepting people. You just keep loving people, right? Chances are you've got some Venusian, you're tied to a Venusian energy, right? Princess Diana was Venusian. Just loved everybody, wanted to love everybody, wanted to, that kind of thing, right? So, those of you who are not believing, I guess it's Spirit's kind of like, open your mind. Open your mind. All right. So that's the opening reading for all of us to take. Now we're going to get into the individual, what Spirit wants us to know for this rebirthing process, this Capricorn full moon that really is taking us into a new dimension. We're really getting out of 3D. For some of us, we're going into 4D. For some of us, we're getting into 5D. We've been in 4D. We're going into 5D. So wherever you've been, you're leveling up. That's why things are falling away. That's why things have gotten really hard in certain situations, because they just don't serve you anymore. It's Spirit giving you that last oomph to be done with it, to walk away, to let go, to release, to love yourself enough. All right. Pile number one. Pile number one. Christ. Love knows only mercy. So this is from the Mary Magdalene Oracle. And pile number one, you have Christ coming through. Love knows only mercy. It's crucial for us to remember that Christ was crucified by the Roman Empire. He wanted to turn the unjust power structures of the empire on their head, making the first last and the last first. Christ wanted to free us from the misunderstanding that any one of us had the right to put ourselves above or below another. Christ wanted to free us from the illusion that external forms of power like wealth and authority could ever come close to the ultimate power of love that exists within us. It's crucial for us to remember that Christ wasn't Christian. Christianity came hundreds of years after Christ. Christ himself embodied a spiritual practice called kenosis, which is Greek for self-emptying love. When we practice loving someone, even a stranger, a perceived enemy, by emptying out all our egoic ideas about them, we free ourselves and them. We put mercy into practice. Mercy is what love looks like in action. In Mary's Gospel, Peter asks Christ, "What is the sin of the world?" And Christ replies, "There is no such thing as sin." Christ here is saying that we are not innately sinful. Sin does not exist as an ultimate truth. Sin, according to the Gospel of Mary, is when we mistake the ego for our true self. When we are unable to sense the presence of the soul in the midst of one of the powers of the ego, we then act from the forgetful state. When we mistake the ego for our true self, it is time to let go of your ego. If you're really struggling with that, card number one. This is your call to arms, that it is time to really work on it. Because that ego is just your fight or flight. It's your reptilian brain wanting to keep you safe. So it's always bringing you back to what you know. And what you know doesn't work. What you know is whatever the programming was from a very early age. Your people pleasing, your self-sabotage, your unworthiness, your powerlessness, whatever it is. Holding on to jealousy, holding on to criticism and judgment for yourself and others. All of that, this is your confirmation that it's really time to step into your power by disconnecting from that egoic mind. All right, with that, let's dig into this. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Please like, subscribe, share, heart. I truly appreciate the support. All right, what does Christ want to add to this message? Call on him. If you're really struggling with your ego, like not being able to walk away from those self-limiting beliefs or that self-sabotage or doing something different, many people that I work with who really have people-pleasing tendencies, I know how hard it is to not be the person that's going to fix things for others, to say no when you've always said yes. I know how terrifying that is, because that's going into that core programming of, if I don't do that, I'm not okay. I'm not safe. So I know that disconnecting from your ego can be scary and terrifying and hard. It's difficult and it takes practice, but call on Christ to help you. The first card that flipped out is Page of Ariel, reliable, clever, educated, balanced. An excellent opportunity will be offered to you. Scholarships or the pursuit of education, time to get to work. Yeah, that's what's happening in your rebirthing. You're going to be like the page that is the young person, the apprentice, the learner. So there's going to be something in your life that you're being brought to that you really are going to have to maybe take a step back from being the brightest star in the room, or the person with all the answers, going from the boss to the intern, right? I feel like that's what you're being called to do. So it's not going to feel all that comfortable, right? So Christ is really asking you to let go of that ego, because there's something that you're here to do that you still are learning. You're learning about, you're learning what it is, you're learning how to be the best version of that, right? So really, really important, card number 1, to really be okay, right? With stepping back, stepping down, taking the new opportunity, because that is where you're being called to be right now, because that is where you're going to ultimately find your success, find your stability, right? In relationship and money and whatever in your life. Because you're being called to your purpose, and your purpose is always going to bring you all the resources, the opportunity, the people, whatever it is you need. But if you're holding really tightly to that old purpose or that old story or that old job or that old relationship, because you're again, terrified is the word I keep getting, right? Because this is hard stuff. And Archangel Michael is showing right up. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. Breathe a sigh of relief and make new plans, relocation or travel. Yeah, for some of you, you're really being called to go in a really different direction, maybe even a new place. Maybe the place that you've been in isn't going to support this new purpose, or there's not the right people there, the right resources there, the right energy there, right? Going back to that opening message of, what are you ingesting? What are you putting in your vibe that doesn't match anymore, right? So there is going to be the light at the end of the tunnel once you make the decision and go in the new direction, because you really are being called. And there it is. This was the card that came out with it. The leap of faith, pile number 1. It's time to believe in yourself. Your heart is bringing the messages through that you need. It is coming through your heart chakra, from your higher self. giving you the new direction, showing you where you need to be putting your time, your energy, your attention. And it is going to feel very much like a leap of faith. But it's going to be the thing that brings you the joy and the stability and the success. So, card number 1, you really are being asked what is being triggered? What is being triggered? Because it's time to let it go. Where you're being triggered is shadow coming up and saying, this is what still needs to be healed so you can go forward. So you can let go of your ego so you can become the intern or the learned, the student. That's the word I was looking for, student. Yeah, pile number 1, there may be something you need to be a student of so that you can learn what you need, because it is time to take that leap of faith. And you don't go alone. You don't go alone. Look, you have your angels with you, and you're also going to have some very loyal and trusted people who are going with you. That's what that feels like. Very loyal and trusted people. All right, so let's see who else wants to go, even though you had Christ kind of show up right away. I'm going to see who else you can call on. Sandalphon. Building the bridge. Your role is to create a connection between heaven, earth, and all hearts. Yeah, you don't have none of us have a small mission. None of us have a small mission, but Sandalphon is coming in to say, call on me. I will help you build that bridge so that you can take that leap of faith. That rainbow that he's holding is actually a representation of all the light codes that are coming in to help you. All the light codes. The violet flame of Saint Germain, the beautiful red light of Christ. You've got the pink light of Ariel, the green light of Raphael, the yellow light of Jophiel. They're bringing you what you need to help you. Card number 1. Call on them. You might even want to do a meditation where you call in the light codes to help you. The blue of Mother Mary. Beautiful, nurturing energy, especially for those of you who have a mother wound. Call on Mother Mary to help you. To build the bridge, to be able to take the leap of faith, to be able to go where you're being called to go. And Lakshmi and Ganesh, prosperity vibration. You are attracting health, wealth, and happiness. Yeah, this leap of faith, I knew it. I knew it was bringing you the stability that you were needing in all areas of your life. So call on Lakshmi and Ganesh to help you attract the health, the wealth, and the happiness. Because if you're going in the direction you're being called to go in, that's what's going to show up. You won't even have to try to manifest it, because you're going to start becoming a master manifester because you're in the right vibrational frequency. When you're living your purpose, you're in your frequency, the frequency of love, joy, gratitude, harmony, mercy. So you are getting into a prosperity vibration. So you don't have to worry about the resources. You don't have to worry about the opportunities. You don't have to worry about the people. It's all going to show up. We have to take the step before Spirit can bring us the next step. We have to take the step. It's like you have to like let spirit know you've made the commitment. And then they bring you the people, they bring you the money, they bring you the resource, they bring you the idea, they bring you the knowledge, the wisdom, or where to get the knowledge, right? So pile number 1, you are shifting into your purpose and you are going to be triggered. And it's time to heal those triggers. This is your time to really release those triggers. And if you need help with that, check out my website, link in the description box. Thank you for being here. All right. Whew. Are we ready? I don't know if I am. Whew. All right. Card number 2. Card number 2. The breath. Oof, I reclaim my soul. The breath. I reclaim my soul. The Gospel of Philip reminds us that the breath animates the flesh. We come to life with the first inhale when we've emerged from our mother's body, and we leave this body with an exhale when it's our time for what's next. The breath is so simple that it's perhaps the easiest aspect of being alive to take for granted. And yet, the breath has the power and potential to bring us back to life, into this moment happening right now, just as it did when we were first born. When we are trapped in one of the 7 powers of the ego, all we need to do is become aware of our breathing. If we can bring presence into the pain through an intentional breath, we can reclaim and remember our power to shift everything that comes next. We can take one intentional breath to return to the body and drop into the heart. We can take a second intentional breath to connect to the presence of love that rests within us. And then we can take a third intentional breath and surface, drenched now with that presence of love to guide us. 3 intentional breaths can change everything. Do not take my word for it. Practice those 3 breaths, especially when you don't want to, especially when someone's yelling at you or when you're the one yelling, when you're furious or when you're more anxious than you've ever been, and when you're about to react in hurtful ways to someone who is hurting you. Just before reacting, just before repeating a pattern of hurting and being hurt, stop. Take 3 breaths. Return to the heart. Reclaim your soul. Then open your eyes more anchored to how love might lead you. To kiss in Hebrew means to breathe together, to share the same breath or spirit. The Gospel of Philip reveals that Christ loved Mary more than all the disciples. He often kissed her on the mouth. It is through the breath that we can experience a new embrace, so that what comes next isn't from the ego alone, it's also from the heart of who we are. It's straight from the soul. You're being asked to break the pattern, whatever the pattern is. Using the 3 intentional breaths to break the pattern. Get out of the cycle. Card number 2. What is your pattern? Is it self-sabotage? Is it victimization? Is it unworthiness? Is it woulda, coulda, shoulda? I can't tell you what your pattern is, but you can sit down with yourself, do some journaling, or the next time you're in that hurtful situation or conversation, really be aware of what you're saying. And have I said this before? It is time to reclaim your soul through being intentional with your words, your actions, your deeds, your energy. Am I coming from a place of love, or am I coming from a place of pain, hurt, trauma? All right, card number 2. Let's dig into this. And I love that Archangel Raphael is the first card out. Kind, understanding, giving, psychic, follow your heart, a love of home and family, trustworthy psychic information. Yeah, because I feel like Spirit really has been trying to get you to recognize where you've been self-sabotaging, where you keep repeating patterns and cycles that are not serving you anymore. They really have been trying to open your eye to that. And I really feel like this reading is another attempt, right? For those of you who see this and really resonate with it, right? So those dreams, those signs, those song lyrics, whatever it is that keeps kind of resonating on some level with you that something isn't quite right in your life, right? Because Spirit's been trying to bring you this message of, what you've been doing, how you've been acting, how you've been reacting. It's not going to work. It's never going to work, right? So if you keep having the same argument with someone, you can't change them, but you can change you. Whether you can accept them at their level where they are, or you have to move on. Those really are your only two choices in any situation. Seven of Michael. There's a better course of action available to you. Yeah, it's time. It's time for the better course of action. It's time for you to recognize that going through the same door, saying the same thing, it's not going to get you anything different, right? What's the definition of chaos? Keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. You got to let it go. You got to change. You have to be intentional, reclaiming your soul. No one can give it back to you. You can't give anybody theirs back to them. All you can do is be the best version of yourself. They either respond to that by leveling up their game or they don't. But either way, you have to accept the outcome. Yeah, Raphael's showing up again. There's something better working for you. Do what you know is right. Yeah, it's a spiritual quest. You're on a spiritual quest. It's about really getting aware. Someone said self-aware, self-reflection. Yeah, it is time. It's time to do it. It is not easy. It is not easy to look at yourself and say, I've been wrong, or I've been doing it wrong, or I am not getting what I want, so I got to be the one to change, right? Whatever it is. But the only way for you to get to the something better that's waiting for you is you've got to make the change. Whatever that change looks like for you, however that change looks for you. You're the only one that can take yourself across that bridge. No one can take you across that bridge. And that can be the hardest thing about a spiritual quest or spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, right? Doing shadow work. We can only do it for ourselves. We can't do it for other people. We can model, right? If we do the work really well, right? People can then look at us and go, what's different about that person, right? I know something's different. And thank you for all the comments. Everybody keeps saying, you look so much brighter. You look so much happier. You look so much lighter. When you do the work, it shows. People don't know what's different about you. They just know something's different because you look different, right? I can see it with people that I've worked with with IET, for 6 or more sessions. Like their pictures also start to look brighter and lighter. You're not carrying that heaviness around anymore. You're not stuck in that old story anymore. And for some of you, you're being kind of, I don't want to say forced, but you're this Capricorn full moon, it's shifting you. It's really bringing in your face, so you can't not see it, what it is that you need to finally work through, let go, release, forgive, walk away. Because it's time for you to be lighter and brighter and happier and have the resources and have everything that you're wanting for your life. Whatever stage of your life you're in, whatever journey, part of your life you're in, it's time for you to receive. It's time for you to come into true happiness. Oh, and that one too flipped right out. Couldn't do that again if we tried. Okay, we got Raziel, the inner workings. That's it, the inner workings. There are hidden truths below the surface. Dig deeper. Yeah, there are reasons that you're not getting what you want. And it's through this self-reflection and this self-awareness that you're going to get to these realizations. You got to dig deep. It's time to dig deep. Ask Archangel Raziel to come in and help you dig deep. Because I'm going to say this, and I may trigger some people, and I may tip some people over. You're the only person in your own way. You're the only person in your own way. And if you're going, but no, but this, but that, but the other thing, no, that's victimization. That's being the victim. You're not a victim. You didn't come here to be a victim. You came here to be a spiritual being, having a human experience, and that's exactly what you're doing. But if you're staying in that victim mentality, then you got to dig deeper. You're in your own way. Parents, ex-husbands, ex-wives, I get it. Sure, I'm sure they did you dirty. But your response to that is the only thing you can control. Your response. You have to take responsibility for that. And yeah, being the bigger person, being the forgiver can be really unpleasant. I get it. It's what you're called to be doing, right? Even if you're just forgiving them and forgiving yourself so that you can just put it behind you because you're just done with it. It's not that you're letting them off the hook. It's not that they've become a better person. You're done. You're just done. I had someone actually, an ex, text me and a whole litany of excuses into why he couldn't do something. Not for me, for someone we share in common. And I literally typed back, I don't care. He was being a victim and I don't have time for it. Figure it out. You have a relationship with that person or you don't. Figure it out, right? Sometimes we just have to stand in our own power and we have to understand that you're making choices and decisions for you, but I've got to make them for me. And I feel like that's what you're being asked to do. Card number 2, this paradigm shift, this full moon, this rebirthing that you're going through is really bringing up some triggers because it's just time for you to let them go, release them. And Lady Venus is coming through, light activation, call to action, power surge, earth mission. Yeah, because it's time for you to get into your mission. So Lady Venus is coming in, giving you this power surge, this almost like a clarity, like a in your face. That's what's been going on. That's why I can't get out of my own way because I keep doing this, right? So I feel like Lady Venus is in this light activation is also bringing you some clarity. So again, whether it's song lyrics, signs, someone being brought into your experience to kind of show you, right? And honestly, that's 90% of the time that someone's coming back to your life to like want to re-engage with you, whether it's an ex-lover or an ex-friend or an ex-coworker, whatever it is. It's because they're coming back to show you something either you're letting go of or you really need to let go of, right? So this light activation is helping you get to your earth mission. why you came here to be a spiritual being, having a human experience, and letting go of and stepping over and releasing the patterns and the cycles that have been holding you back from doing that. So card number 2, whatever is coming up, it's coming up because it's time. So use those 3 breaths to come back into the present moment so that you don't repeat the pattern or the cycle. You can now recognize what you need to change in you, the only person you can ever change. All right. So thank you for being here. All right. Whew. 2 really incredible messages. And I love that they're really different. I sometimes when I'm doing pick a cards, I get and they're all kind of similar. Like I'm like, well, I could have just done one general reading, but I don't know until I get into them, right? I'm not going to know what spirit's going to bring us. All right. Let me just take care of business. All right. Pile number 3. Oh, you're welcome, everyone. Honestly, Christina, you just nailed it. She's like, the decision is the hardest part. Absolutely. And I can't, if you watched any of my earlier videos, I said that all the time. Making the decision is the hardest part. Once you make the decision, you get off the fence, like everything flows from there because the decision's been made, and then the opportunities, the people, the situations, everything kind of shows up. But nothing happens when you're not making a decision. And then you're like, well, why isn't my life changing? Well, because you're on the fence. Spirit can't bring you anything when you're on the fence because you haven't made a decision. So thank you, Christina, for reminding me. All right. Pile number 3. The Alpha and Omega. Every ending is a new beginning. The first will be the last, and the last will be the first. The Alpha and Omega. Christ's parable of the vineyard workers describes a man who arrives at a vineyard late in the day, and yet he's given the same amount of pay for his brief labor as those who have been hard at work since dawn. Christ explains that in the world to come, or in the world that already exists invisibly within this one, those who are last shall be first, and the first last. This doesn't seem fair, though, or just, and that's precisely what the parable is meant to do. It's meant to get us all caught up in our ego so that we can release it. If we really focus on what's fair according to the ego, we get tied up in feeling as if we're being cheated or betrayed. This comes from the ego's fear that there's only so much treasure to go around. We think this labor who only just showed up as the work is almost over will take from what we would have received. According to the ego, what others get, we miss out on. There isn't a concept of plenty, only lack and scarcity. The ego can't conceive of an unconditional love that isn't concerned with what's fair when it comes to who can receive it. The treasure is for everyone who shows up, whether we've only just started the work now or we've been laboring in the name of love for our entire lives. Love is here for all of us equally. Love operates on a system that's limitless, and this feels entirely unfair to the ego. And when we realize this, that the last shall be first and the first last, the ego is released. And what had felt like a painful betrayal or an unjust situation expands into something new. We can revel in the unreasonable abundance of love. It's time to let go of lack mentality. It's time to let go of I don't have enough. I'm not good enough. There's never enough for me. I'm not enough. Whatever the lack mentality is, this is your call to let it go. And yeah, that's way easier said than done because I think I still struggle with it. I get it. For those of us of my generation, were raised with parents who were raised with parents who went through the Great Depression. This lack mentality, this scarcity issue, it's embedded in our programming. It's embedded from our great-grandparents, it's embedded from our grandparents, and it's embedded from our parents. So I know that this lack mentality of I don't have enough, I'm not good enough, there's not enough, it's a very core fear that for some of us, it holds on so tightly that everything we try to do falls apart. Everything we try to achieve doesn't work out. Even when we're making a lot of money, we still have a negative checking account. Because the fear of not having enough keeps putting us in predicaments of not having enough. It's the law of cause and effect. It's the law of attraction. It's the law of correspondence. As within, so without. You keep telling yourself you don't have enough. You don't have enough. Doesn't matter how much you actually have. You whittle it away until you don't have enough. You create the circumstance of not having enough. I promise you, I know what I'm talking about. And I wish I didn't, but I do. You can overcome it. That I know too. So for those of you who are really resonating pile number 3 of I never have enough, I never have I don't get the right people, I don't get the right situations, I'm not the one that luck ever finds, I don't get the lucky anything, I don't get the break. So be careful that you haven't let this lack mentality also take you into victimization. So card number 3, this is really going to need you to understand that this is root chakra. This is primal. This is a program that you're living with. And it's shifting in this Capricorn new moon, full moon energy. So what does that mean? It means your needs are going to get met. It means you are going to have enough. But are you going to stay in the, well, that was an off chance, right? Are you going to stay in that energy of, well, that happened today, it's not going to happen tomorrow, right? That waiting for the other shoe to drop all the time, right? So that's another thing to be aware of. Are you waiting for the other shoe to drop all the time, right? When something good does happen, right? Positive affirmations can help you, especially if you fall asleep, let them get in that theta state. Because again, this is old programming. This is generational programming you came in with, right? So it was great-grandparents, grandparents, and now you, and possibly past life. Like this lack mentality might be something that maybe you've gone through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of always being the one that didn't feel like they had enough or didn't have enough and couldn't get enough, right? There was never enough. So listening to Hertz music, right? For root chakra clearing. Positive affirmation, sleep meditations. 10 of Michael, a situation has ended. There it is. I love it. You are finally free. New opportunities will now follow. So you're coming out of this. You're coming out of this. Do you believe it? Can you believe it? Can you trust it? Can you allow it in? That is going to be your challenge. Because the Ten of Michael is saying it's you give yourself take a bow. You've done it. You made it. You're here. You've hit the stage of life in a positive position. It's only getting better from here. Can you accept it? Can you believe it and receive it? Can you believe it and receive it? Ace of Michael. There it is. Michael is coming in. Call on Michael if you need help with this. A wonderful new idea. Don't allow bumps in the road to hinder your progress. Clear up communication problems with it. Yeah, the bumps in the road are going to be nothing compared to what you've been through. The bumps in the road are literally going to be that. They're not going to be the chasms. They're not going to be the cliffs. They're not going to be what you've been through before. They're not going to be the obstacles and challenges that were heartbreaking and terrifying. You're coming into a whole new paradigm, a whole new story, a whole new road. Can you accept it? It's going to be so important that you accept it with open arms and believe it and receive it. And don't allow the negative self-talk, the limiting beliefs, the lack mentality get in the way. You made it. You survived the obstacle course. You're hitting the finish line. Page of Raphael, a new emotional situation, messages regarding relationship. Yeah. Or social invitations. It's time. It's time. You are now the page in your story of a rebirthing of a new person who is ready to take on the world, who's ready to go forward, and with new people, with new emotional situations. Are you ready? Are you ready to accept new love with open arms, without the fear and the past traumas holding you back? Can you trust someone new? Can you allow them in? This isn't just about finances. This isn't about career. This is about love. This is about family. This is about friendships, romantic partners who've done you dirty. Can you leave those traumas and dramas in the past so they're not impacting these new relationships? It's going to take some work, right? Call on Archangel Raphael, can help you heal those parts of yourself that aren't freely opening up to new love experiences in whatever form because your heart chakra got so closed down. Because you've been through it more than once. But it's time to leave that behind in that old version of you. Because now you're the new version. Cynthia says it's an 8-year. 8 means abundance in all things. Trust this. And that can be the hardest part, trusting. Trusting your instincts, trusting your gut, trusting your inspiration, spirit-inspired action, trusting what you can't see, feel, hear, or touch. But that's what you're being called to do because it's time to receive. And you have to believe to receive. I usually I worked with a woman for a long time who was in her own right very psychic. But she would contact me and I would amplify her energy. And her thing was, if you sneezed after delivering a message, you could take it to the bank. Like, it was true. And I just caught myself from sneezing. So whatever I just said, you can take to the bank. Azrael, transcendence. You wouldn't be who you are without what you have overcome. Own your story. It's okay to own your story. Absolutely. But don't let it define you. You can own it, but don't let it define you. Because you can be more than your story, or you can create a new story, which is what I feel like you're being asked to do. So own your story. Yeah, you've been through some stuff. God knows I'm right there with you, right? Owning my story, but I'm not letting it define me. I don't let anybody use it against me because I'm not that version of me anymore. And that's what you're being asked to do. Transcend that old story. Own it, but it got you to where you are now. So now you can move on beyond it. You can transcend it. Call in Archangel Azrael to help you. And Zedkiel, karma release. Yeah, it's exactly what you're going through. It's time to release what's holding you back and step into a more radiant self. There it is. Card number 3. That's why it's your time. That's why you are now on the stage and you're able to take a bow. You're being encouraged to take a bow. You've done it. You've released the karma. Whatever the healing's been, whatever the learning's been, whatever your process has been, you are not that old version of yourself anymore. Start acting like the new version, believing and receiving. So this Capricorn full moon is going to be powerful for you because you're being called to let go of how it's been familiar, what's been familiar, to go into the new, to step into your new path, your new power, your new frequency, your new dimension. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. If you're watching on the replay, thank you for being here. If you're watching live, thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I truly do. If you want to work with me personally, please check out my website. Link is in the description box. Whether you need healing, don't forget the 3-month package is still at 45% off until August 31st. Yeah. And thank you everyone who has been taking advantage of my birthday sale. That is also on my website. And then taking advantage of the package. I'm really looking forward to working with some beautiful new clients. So it's been really, really cool. So guys, thank you. The intention is still those who need me find me. So we're going to keep rocking it out. Enjoy your Sunday. Thank you for being here. And thank you for watching on the replay. Please #replay or drop your number. Thank you so much.